Brigadier General Gerald Goodfellow has accomplished a lot during his 30 years in the Air Force, but now that he's retired, he's taken on two new roles. He's now the Executive Director of the Louisiana Tech Research Institute and the Director of Technology Innovation for Louisiana Tech. On tonight's KSLA Salutes, Miranda Whittington sits down with the Brigadier General to learn how he went from dropping bombs to dropping knowledge.
From the Air Force on July 1st.
The military is something Brigadier General Gerald Goodfellow knows pretty well.
Years ago, I used to teach at the Army War College.
Because it's something the New Mexico native has always wanted to be a part of.
Always had an interest in being in the military. I'm not sure exactly why. My parents were not in the military, none of my family was. By the time I was little, all I ever wanted to do was be in the military.
So once he finished high school, he joined the Air Force ROTC, went to college, and in May of 1989 was commissioned in the Air Force and soon became a weapons systems officer.
People always say, what's a weapons systems officer? I guess people have seen Top Gun, and Goose, the guy who sat in the back of the airplane, he did all the bombing, the firing of the missiles, those kinds of things.
Over his 30 years in the Air Force, Goodfellow has been stationed at a variety of Air Force bases, flying tankers to B-1 bombers.
So you get into that airplane and you're busy from the minute you step into it. I mean, you're getting the systems up and going, you're doing systems checks, you're taking off, you're going out and doing your mission, you're dropping bombs.
Goodfellow has spent nearly 3,000 hours flying the B-1 bomber, has dropped 42,000 pounds of bombs in seconds, and currently holds the world record for the fastest nonstop flight around the world with refueling in the B-1.
Was walking down the hallway one day and a guy by the name of Chris Stewart, he had been asked to write a draft speech for an event that was coming up, and so he was looking through the world record books of all the world records the B-1 held. And I happened to be walking by his office. He's like, "Hey Gerald, we become friends." He says, "I got a question for you. What would prevent us from flying around the world?"
That flight took Goodfellow 1 day, 12 hours, 13 minutes, and 36 seconds to complete.
People who drop bombs, I see a 9th Bomb Squadron patch here.
After retiring in July, Goodfellow decided to move towards higher education and was recently named the Executive Director for the Louisiana Tech Research Institute and the Director of Technology Innovation for Louisiana Tech University.
I still think in this job I can work on issues that are important to the national defense, and so I'm really, really excited about this opportunity.
With so many ideas and goals to accomplish, including strengthening the relationship between Louisiana Tech and Global Strike Command, Goodfellow is excited about his future in his new roles.
I got to go to Albuquerque and do a Nuke 400 class. But anyway, thanks for coming.
Miranda Whittington, KSLA News 12.
Goodfellow is also the recipient of the Distinguished Flying Cross for heroism in combat. He was also presented with the General Ira E. Eaker Award and the Mackey Trophy for his world record flight that currently sits on display at the National Air and Space Museum in Washington.